morning, happy Monday. I thought that we would get our weight training done first thing this morning. We're gonna do it right here in the living room because they're doing construction outside and it is very loud and very noisy. Oh, and also of course, you know, I'm gonna show you how I get enough steps today. I think that I tried to get a lot out of the way this morning before I sit down at the computer today. So let's see where we're at. 7,300 steps, already over 7,000 for the day, which is so nice. Let's get our little weight training out of the way. We're not gonna do anything too crazy. We're just gonna get it done. That is literally my workout. Just under 20 minutes. Removing the barriers, whatever the barrier needed to be for me, whether it was time or whatever, I just did it. I just got it done and I feel so much better. So now we need to, I'm gonna read, take a shower, and get on with the rest of our day. I got a comment recently that said, can you please share specifically how you got your progesterone from a 1 to an over a 12? The first thing I did was I utilized functional testing to see what is actually going on inside of my body, okay? So when I did my GI map and when I did my blood work, those were the two tests that completely, totally, and absolutely changed my life, along with the pathogen test when I found the mold in my body. Healthy hormones come from making healthy cells. Everybody has a different cellular story, but the one thing that I think everybody should focus on every single day is gut health, because this is where the barrier can get broken down, things can leak out into the bloodstream like lipopolysaccharides, it burdens the liver. Let me explain it this way. There's a lady who owns a bakery nearby, and if she was out there every single day mopping up, you know, mopping and cleaning, she wouldn't be able to be focused on making bread. That is the same way with our body and our hormones. If it's trying to mop up all this other mess that's causing oxidative stress, which is going to affect our egg quality, which is going to affect progesterone production. So we have to focus on making healthy cells. That is what I wish somebody would have literally told me when I walked out of the midwife's office that day and I had no idea what to do and no idea what next steps to take. And I was just like, you know, I was told, yo, do an HTMA, you know, different people had different, you know, recommendations, but the one thing that actually truly helped me is focusing on my gut health and getting my blood work done, which was really revealing a lot of what was happening with my gut and nutrient deficiencies stemming from a gut that needed help. When I went back to school, that is when I learned from the doctor who I studied under. He said, everybody goes to school and we just gloss over the most important thing of all, which is the levels of organization, which is healthy cells, make healthy tissues, make healthy organs, make a healthy organ system. So when somebody comes to you and they're like, how do I do this? How do I fix this with my hormones? Whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? He always says, it looks like you need to make healthier cells. It looks like we need to have basically TLC for your cells, tender loving care for your cells. We need to strengthen them and protect them from whatever is going on inside of them. And everybody's cells and everybody's story is gonna look different. But the way that I was able to transform my health, including my hormone health, is by focusing on making healthy cells. And the first thing that I did when I got my blood work and I got my GI map was I started focusing on my gut health specifically. And I remembered one of the first things that I added in after I researched so much, and specifically another practitioner was talking about colostrum. And you know, it was really starting to go viral and people were really starting to talk about it, which is funny because I just read a book and this doctor was talking about it like 30 years ago when nobody was talking about it. She was talking about it. She was talking how important it is to focus on making a healthy gut. She's like, that's the first thing that you need to do. And you know what she said? And I was like, this is my story. This was true for me. She's like, you don't even need to feel anything. You don't even need to have any major gut red flags or symptoms. I can't tell you how true that was for me. I cannot tell you how true that was for me. Even my friend recently, her hair is falling out. She's exhausted all the time. And she's like, I was asking about her gut health and you know, her digestion. She goes, great. I digest my food fine, you know, blah, blah, blah. I don't have any feelings of anything. And then I looked at her GI map. She got a GI map done and I was like, we need to focus on making some healthier cells. And so the thing that helped me make the decision of why am I gonna add this food into my diet, or why am I gonna add this thing? When I add something into my my diet. I am specifically asking, how is this going to help make healthier cells? Is this going to help me make healthy cells? And that is exactly why I chose to add in colostrum into my diet specifically. When you have poor little cells that are being totally overwhelmed by lipopolysaccharides, these gut toxins, that can throw off everything in your gut, because you can actually have now a burdened liver. Okay, here, let me paint the picture. You maybe don't feel anything in your gut, but you're having all these other things going on in your health. Like my friend, her hair was falling out. She was exhausted all the time, all these things, but she felt fine in her gut. Then we did a GI map, and that was the same for me. And I looked at it and I was like, I'll never forget when I got my first GI map back, and it talked about that I had high lipopolysaccharides. And I'm like, I'd never even heard the word lipopolysaccharide before. I just knew that my progesterone was low. I just knew that I had painful periods. I just knew that I was exhausted all the time. I just knew that my hair was falling out. I didn't know that I had lipopolysaccharides. So functional testing is revolutionary. Now, I say this because if you don't or haven't done functional testing, you can hopefully identify it and say, well, I don't really necessarily feel any of the other things with my gut, but I'm raising my hand for all this other stuff. You can bet that you need to strengthen your barrier, because everybody does, okay? So now that being said, I didn't know the gut hormone connection with all of this, okay? Because if you have a weak barrier, here's what happens. You get these toxins that now leak out into the bloodstream, and they can cause inflammation. They burden the liver, like I was explaining. Now your liver is mopping up the mess of these lipopolysaccharides instead of clearing the hormones or baking the bread, doing its main job. It's no longer focused on doing an effective main job because it's focusing on other issues from the gut, from a weak barrier. So the one thing that you can do every day that I began, that was one of the very first things, and I'm so thankful that I found that after I miscarried and I did a gut test, was when I read in depth about colostrum, I was like, I'm adding this into my life. And it radically, and I just got my GI map back now, and it's just like so amazing to see how it's completely transformed my life. And I started researching into it, and I started taking it. I started taking Armor colostrum, and I chose them specifically because against other comparable colostrums, they had a 32% more rapid immune response against lipopolysaccharides. And the way that colostrum works as a food, the first food of life, is it works by strengthening the barrier. So the one thing that you can, because of all the things, it has IgGs in it. That's not normal. That's not normal for a food to have IgGs. But when we think about God and the way that he made the world, that he would make the first food of life to be so nutrient dense. So that is the one thing that you can do every day. And how I transformed my hormonal health is by transforming my cellular health. And I know that it might sound so simple, but I really wasn't doing these very basic things like focusing on my gut health every single day with specifically something that was going to strengthen my barrier so that these lipopolysaccharides weren't getting out into the bloodstream and wreaking havoc on my hormones. Because guess what? It can cause massive disruptions in the microbiome, and then your liver does its job, let's say, and it sends off the estrogen to be cleared, and then your gut can literally reactivate estrogen so that it's lowering your progesterone. So when I talk about gut health and it's like, well, how is that really even related? Everything is related because everything touches everything. So the one thing that I did and how I specifically fell in love with colostrum, specifically Armra's colostrum, that is why I take this every single day. Armra is having their biggest sale that they've ever had. If you are a first-time customer, or if you have purchased Armra before, you're getting 20% off. So I know so many of you have purchased Armra from me and it's changed your life. So you can use my code or just my link. You can use code, but it's just my link, tryarmor.com/Cambria. It'll automatically get you that 20% off. So this is the time to stock up. I've never seen them do a sale this big. I've never seen 20% off. Usually it's 15% off. It's 20% off. You're gonna make healthy cells, transform your total body health. That is how I transformed my hormonal health. Grab your colostrum. I'm so excited. I've never seen them do a sale this big, and I'm so passionate about it because it's not even about gut health. It's about being able to show up for your life. When my friend looked at me yesterday and she said, I haven't felt this good in years. I haven't felt this amazing. I can't remember the last time that I felt this good. And what did we do? We looked at her GI map and I said, you really need to start taking Armor colostrum. They source from US grass-fed family farms, and their cold chain technology, their cold chain biopotent technology is their proprietary pasteurization process that maintains the over 400 different bioactive nutrients so that they're actually bioavailable to the body. This has prebiotics and it has the IgGs, which is antibodies, okay? So that is going to whack at the things. That's like your first responders. If you don't have a lot of first responders and there's a lot of not so good guys coming in, you're not gonna be able to have the best immune response against those toxins, which is going to affect your health downstream everywhere else. Downstream meaning healthy cells, healthy tissues, healthy organs. So the downstream. And the Sun Gold Apricot is my favorite flavor that they've ever come out with. It is so good. I will leave a link at the top of the description box. Number 2, I optimized my nutrient intake with my food. B6 is one of the most important vitamins. Honestly, all of them. I can't even just say B6, but I was not eating enough B6. I was not getting enough B12. I was not getting enough of the basic nutrients that run pathways in our cells. So that's the second thing I did. I optimized my diet to make sure that I was getting enough nutrients. The third thing is I lowered oxidative stress in my body. That comes through optimizing your gut health, because again, if there's toxins getting out into the bloodstream, it can cause inflammation. And the reason that inflammation, which I didn't even know what that word meant for many years, the reason that inflammation is problematic is because it causes oxidative stress. It causes damage to the cell. So I started adding in things like green tea, things that are really high in polyphenol. I started eating way more fiber in my diet. That is why when I made well, I can't tell you how basic of a thing that it is, but so many women are not doing the basics. 100 grams of protein, 25 grams of fiber. I wasn't doing those things. I loved health and nutrition and I wasn't doing those things. So when I created well, this is what I did. This is literally what I did to make healthy cells and transform my hormonal health. And as far as the basics, eat enough protein. Number 1, eat enough. This is literally what I did. Eat enough protein, eat enough fiber, eat enough carbohydrate. Wasn't doing that. Eat enough fat, consume enough electrolytes for cell signaling, hydrate properly, and then going into the depths. This is just the basics. Okay, we're just talking about macronutrients. The micronutrients cannot be overlooked as well. So it's a beautiful dance of everything. Nothing's gonna fix a fiber deficiency other than fiber. You know, nothing's gonna fix a protein deficiency other than protein. Nothing's gonna fix a B vitamin deficiency other than B vitamins. You know, I love herbs. Herbs shall be for the service of mankind, God said. It's a beautiful thing. But at the same time, he created the biochemical pathways in the body that run off of B vitamins. So an herb isn't gonna fix a B vitamin deficiency, just like a weakened gut wall barrier is not gonna be fixed by, you know, eating enough fiber. When you have a barrier that is struggling under the weight of lipopolysaccharides and all these toxins, you need something to come in there and literally like, you can get in there and get to work. You need security. You need a boss security guard, okay? And that's literally like what armor colostrum is, because of the antibodies in there that come in and help out the cells to fight off those things so that the poor little cell doesn't get beat up over here. That's what it's doing. And then it lets the liver do its job so it can bake the bread and clear the estrogen, if you will. And it's not trying to tend the mess from the gut. So that is what I did. That is what got me from the lowest progesterone that I've ever had to a healthy progesterone level that I can't even believe I'm saying that. Healthy periods, no painful periods, eat enough protein, eat enough fiber, get enough carbohydrate, and specifically 100 grams every single day of protein. If you have a hard time doing this, that is literally why I created this. It is literally just a cookbook and a meal guide that helps you do all those things. This is not just a random number. This is in the literature. 150 grams of carbohydrate every single day for thyroid conversion. Okay, I don't make the rules. I follow evidence-based medicine. That's what I do. That's what I practice. 25 grams of fiber every single day to bind to bile, okay? We need to help out the gut by actually eating enough fiber so that bile isn't recirculating also and burdening the liver. It's a multifaceted approach. And then also electrolytes, okay? If you want gut motility, we need to focus on electrolytes. Very basic, sodium, potassium, magnesium. I talk about that till I'm blue in the face as well because it's essential. And then hydrate properly. Simply drink enough water. Healthy cells create healthy hormones. That is where it's at. That is how I transform my hormonal health, is by doing those basic things that I was not doing, focusing on my gut health, focusing on reducing oxidative stress, and using foods like green tea, matcha, things like that are going to the body, or fill the body, I should say, with polyphenols, eating polyphenol rich foods. Class is dismissed. We're actually gonna head off to a coffee shop now and work on the upcoming program, and we're gonna go because I could just yada yada, I could just talk all day. Okay, I'm ready to go get hours and hours of work done, have a full belly from lunch, lots of protein, fiber, and I'm ready to go. I'm so excited. So let's go get a matcha. Thought I'd give you a little step update. We have reached our step goal. In fact, we've exceeded it. We're just waiting for dinner to finish. We are ending our day with almost 13,000 steps. I feel so good about that. Today, I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like maybe my days are a little bit filming boring wise. They're not boring to me, but I'm just doing a lot of sitting. I'm doing a lot of sitting right now, and I'm just so excited to get to work on this and be able to work on it now that I'm graduated and I'm done. And well, again, like I said, I have to get graded, or I don't know if I mentioned that, but I turned in my final project and then basically I will get, you know, graded. And if I pass, then I'm good to go. But anyway, I think I'm gonna pass. And if I don't get something right, it's a project, so he'll just tell me what to work on. So anyway, we're good to go. So now that I'm not doing school, I do feel a little bit like almost disoriented in life. It was such a part of my every single day for the past, since January really. And now I'm trying to find a new normal and just had to catch up on a bunch of other random, honestly, just boring adult stuff the past couple days that I wasn't able to get to. So anyway, so now I'm able to finally just try to get into a new groove with working on, basically, I am working on, I don't even want to call it a program, but it's basically like the ability to help you make healthy cells and figure out your cells story and what to do and how to take steps on exactly what you need to do to help yourself so that you can, you know, balance your hormones and all that kind of stuff. Figure out what's going on. Just the exact path that I wish somebody would have told me, because I was so overwhelmed. And I'm literally creating this for the Cambria that walked out of the midwife's office that day and was like, what do I do with my, like, I don't know what to do. And I don't know what's going on inside of my body. I'll never forget that feeling of like, what is happening inside of my body? I just wanted answers and direction and clarity. And that is what I want this to do for you. And so I'm so just trying to get into a new groove and rhythm of that, all while trying to stay active, get my step count, make sure that I'm like regularly strength training again and making that a priority. Even today, I was like, it's so easy to make things harder than it is. So even if you can just do something for a very limited time, I think it can be so easy to underestimate how impactful that small thing would be, you know, whether it's squats while you do dinner, or it actually is those things that are the most impactful, which is funny because I've like studies have even shown that when you move throughout the day, how much more impactful it is. Anyway, all that to say, I'm just so trying to get into a good new rhythm. So I'm gonna try to get up bright and early like I always do, but I don't know, get up and be able to really make some progress, because today I felt like I was kind of hitting roadblocks because I'm trying to figure out just like back end stuff that I'm not, it's just a lot. It's a lot of like moving parts to it. So I'm just trying to figure out all the technical stuff, and I'm not very good with the technical stuff. So I just kind of want to focus on the actual like mapping everything out for you and having you have the ability to test and understand what's going on in your body and things like that. So yeah, I just feel like it's a little, you know, maybe not super like action packed, but I hope you enjoyed today's vlog and hanging out. I love hanging out with you. It is the joy of my life, and every day I wake up with so much purpose and passion to help you. So just thank you for, I just love you. I just thank you for being here, and it is like the joy of my life to just share my life with you and hang out with you. And so I will see you very soon. I will see you in the next vlog. Anyways, I'm gonna go oil my hair, scalp massage, and then I'm gonna go to bed. So I love you. Don't forget, tryarmor.com/Cambria, 20% off. I've never seen them do a sale this big. And if you are not a first-time customer and you've purchased Armor before, you can get this discount. So 20% off. It's the biggest one I've ever seen. I would stock up. I've never seen them do this, and it is the best. It's irrefutable. My GI map, I wish I could pour over the results with you while sipping on a progesterone punch that I need to make my progesterone punch. But that's another thing I do every single day for my progesterone. And I'm honestly just gonna read a biochemistry book tonight before I go to bed. It's like, I just love it so much. I love it so much. Anyway, link will be in the top of the description box. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next vlog. Bye.
Hey Cambria, Dr. Walsh here. I don't even know where to start. Awesome job on your capstone. And it's not just that it was an awesome job. I remember who you were in our conversation when you first joined. And the level of, I'll just say, clinical maturity, clinical confidence is so much more. You know how, like, in kids, if you see them once every year, how much they've grown, but to the parents it doesn't look like they've grown, the kid doesn't feel like they've really grown. I don't think you really know just how much you've actually grown from the time you started with us. So huge congratulations on that. Specifically, great job on the cases.